Captain Lee Do-Yun stood on the bridge of the UES Vigilance, watching the stars through the main window. His ship was small compared to the big military vessels, but it was fast and reliable. For 3 years he had been making supply runs to the outer colonies. Today was supposed to be just another routine trip to New Seoul. "Captain, we're coming out of jump space now," said Yoon Ji-hoo from the communication station. The young officer's fingers moved quickly across his controls. "Should have visual contact with New Seoul Station in about 30 seconds. Do-hyun nodded and settled into his command chair. New Seoul was one of humanity's best colonies. Over 2 million people lived there, working in the mines and farms that helped feed other human worlds. The orbital stations were always busy with cargo ships and passenger liners. Dr. Park Min-hee ran the colony well, and she always had hot meals waiting for visiting crews. "Something's wrong," Ji-hoo said suddenly. His voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "I'm not getting any signals from the stations." "Check your equipment," Do-hyun ordered, but he was already feeling worried. "Maybe there's interference from the star." Cho Soo-bin looked up from her sensor station. Her face was pale. "Captain, I'm reading debris where the main station should be." "Lots of debris." Do-hyun felt his stomach drop. "Put it on the main screen." The window in front of them changed to show sensor readings. Where New Seoul's proud orbital stations should have been, there was only twisted metal floating in space. Pieces of ships, parts of buildings, fragments of lives that had been suddenly ended. "Full sensor sweep of the system," Do-hyun commanded. His voice stayed calm, but inside he was screaming. "Check every planet, every moon, every station." The next hour felt like the longest of Do-hyun's life. One by one, his crew reported the same thing. The mining stations on the outer planets, destroyed. The agricultural domes on New Seoul's surface, gone. The research facility on the third moon, nothing but a crater. Bae Woo-jin, the ship's engineer, spoke without looking up from his controls. "Captain, I'm reading radiation patterns consistent with plasma bombardment. Multiple ships, heavy weapons. This wasn't pirates or raiders." "How many people lived here?" asked Ji-hoo, staring at the destruction on his screen. 2.3 million, Do-hyun answered quietly. "Men, women, children. Farmers, miners, teachers, doctors." Cho Soo-bin was crying now, tears floating in the zero gravity near her face. "There's nothing left. No life signs anywhere in the system. Everything is dead." Do-hyun closed his eyes for a moment. He had friends on New Seoul. Good people who had invited him to dinner, who had shown him pictures of their children, who had talked about their hopes for the future. "All gone, sir," Ji-hoo called out. "I'm picking up a weak signal from a damaged communication relay. It's badly damaged, but there might be something in the memory banks. Download everything you can," Do-hyun ordered. "Maybe we can find out what happened." It took 2 hours to extract the data from the damaged relay. Most of it was corrupted, but Ji-hoo managed to recover one transmission. It was Dr. Park Min-hee's voice, and she sounded terrified. "This is New Seoul Control to any ships in the area. We are under attack by unknown vessels. I repeat, we are under attack." They appeared without warning. Dozens of ships, larger than anything we've ever seen. We tried to contact them, tried to surrender, but they're not responding. They're just killing everything. The transmission was full of static, but they could hear explosions in the background. Dr. Park's voice continued, getting more desperate with each word. "They're targeting civilians. The farming domes, the schools, even the hospital. This isn't war, this is murder. They're using some kind of virus weapon on the planet. The air itself is becoming poison. Tell Earth. Tell them we tried to surrender. Tell them we never wanted to fight. Tell them." The transmission ended in a burst of static. The bridge of the Vigilance was completely silent for a long time. "Analysis of the attack pattern suggests a deliberate strategy," Woo-jin reported, his voice flat and professional. "They weren't trying to capture anything. This was complete extermination." Ji-hoo worked at his station, his hands shaking slightly. "I've identified the energy signatures of the attacking ships. The computer says they match records from Catharan Empire vessels." Do-hyun had heard of the Kitharans. They were an old alien race that controlled a large part of the galaxy. They had a reputation for being cruel to younger species, but humanity had never directly fought them before. "Captain," Soo-bin called out, "I'm reading something strange in the debris field. There's writing carved into one of the station hull pieces. Put it on screen." The image showed a piece of twisted metal from what had once been New Seoul's main orbital platform. Burned into the hull in perfect Korean characters were the words, "Humans are beneath notice." The insult was clear. The Kitherans had not just killed everyone on New Sol. They had left a message saying that humans were so unimportant that destroying them meant nothing. It was like stepping on an insect. "Prepare a full report," Do-hyun ordered, his voice hard as steel. "Include everything. The attack patterns, the energy signatures, Dr. Park's final message, and that thing they carved into our people's home." "Should I include our recommendations?" Ji-hoo asked. Do-hyun looked at the debris field one more time. Somewhere in that mess of metal and ice were the remains of 2.3 million human beings, people who had never hurt anyone, people who had tried to surrender and been ignored. Yes, include my recommendation that Earth responds with everything we have. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. The Kitherans think we're beneath notice. Let's show them how wrong they are. As the Vigilants prepared to jump back to Earth, Do-hyun made a promise to the empty space where New Sol had been. The people who died here would not be forgotten. Their deaths would not go unanswered. Earth would learn what happened here, and Earth would make sure it never happened again. The jump to Earth would take 18 hours. 18 hours for the Kitherans to think they had gotten away with murder. After that, everything would change. President Seo Haeon sat in the emergency meeting room deep beneath the United Earth Government building. The room had been built to survive anything, even nuclear war. Today, it felt like the walls were closing in on her. 18 hours ago, the Vigilance had transmitted its report about New Sol. 18 hours of checking and double-checking, hoping against hope that Captain Lee Do-hyun had made some terrible mistake. But the evidence was clear. New Sol was gone. Every man, woman, and child murdered by aliens who thought humans were beneath notice. The attack was conducted by the Kitheran Empire, General Ryu Tae-hyun reported to the assembled leaders. His voice was steady, but his hands were clenched into fists. "They used approximately 50 ships to destroy our colony. Intelligence suggests they view this as a minor pest control operation." Around the table sat the most powerful people on Earth. Military commanders, government ministers, corporate leaders. All of them looked stunned. Humanity had spread to 17 star systems over the past century, but they had always avoided conflict with the major alien powers. "How do we respond?" asked Defense Minister Ko Jae-hyun. "We have patrol ships and some defensive platforms, but the Kitherans have been conquering worlds for thousands of years." "We surrender," said Economic Advisor Nam Ji-hyo quietly. "We accept whatever terms they offer and hope they let the rest of our colonies live." The room erupted in angry voices. Some agreed with Nam, arguing that resistance would only bring more destruction. Others demanded immediate military action, even if it meant certain defeat. President Seo raised her hand for silence. "General Ryu, what are our actual military capabilities?" The general looked around the room, then activated a security field that would prevent any electronic surveillance. "Madam President, what I'm about to tell you is classified beyond top secret. Most of the people in this room don't have clearance for this information. Tell us," Seo ordered. General Ryu took a deep breath. For the past 40 years, Earth has been secretly preparing for exactly this scenario. We call it Project Prometheus. He activated a holographic display that showed the Sol system. Suddenly, thousands of red dots appeared throughout the display, hidden in asteroid belts and dark space. While we've been publicly promoting peace and exploration, we've been building the largest military force in galactic history. We currently have 480,000 warships hidden throughout human space. The room fell completely silent. Even President Seo stared at the display in shock. "That's impossible," whispered Finance Minister Park Ho-jin. "The cost alone would bankrupt us. Every mining operation, every research station, every agricultural world has been contributing to this project," General Ryu explained. "The asteroid mining facilities? They're actually shipyards. The research stations? Weapons development centers. The farming worlds? Training grounds for our military forces." Dr. Kang Myung, the head of Earth's scientific division, stood up. "I can confirm the general's report. My department has been developing weapons technology that surpasses anything currently used by the known galactic powers." "You're telling us that we've been living a lie for 40 years? Asked Minister Ko. "We've been living a necessary deception," General Ryu corrected. "The galaxy is full of predators who prey on species they consider weak. We let them think we were defenseless farmers and miners while we built the means to protect ourselves. Commander No Jinwook, head of Special Operations, activated another display. Our intelligence networks have been monitoring all major alien powers for decades. We know their military capabilities, their strategic weaknesses, and their plans for expansion. What about the Kitherans specifically? President Seo asked. They have approximately 12,000 ships in their main fleet, No reported. They've grown comfortable with easy victories against primitive species. They've never faced coordinated resistance from a technologically advanced opponent. Dr. Kang stepped forward. Our quantum torpedo technology can phase through their energy shields. Our AI command systems can coordinate fleet movements on a scale they've never imagined. Our temporal displacement drives allow faster-than-light strategic positioning. How many people know about this? The president asked. Including military personnel, approximately 2 million people Earth-wide. General Ryu answered. They're all sworn to absolute secrecy. Even their families don't know the true nature of their work. President Seo walked to the window that looked out over the city. Millions of people lived their daily lives not knowing that their peaceful existence was protected by the largest military force in the galaxy. What would full deployment look like? She asked. Every ship we have moving simultaneously against Kitheran space, General Ryu replied. We wouldn't just defeat them. We would remove them as a threat to any species in the galaxy. The cost in alien lives would be enormous, warned Minister Nam. The cost of doing nothing would be the extinction of humanity, Commander No countered. The Kitherans don't just conquer. They exterminate species they consider inferior. President Seo thought about Dr. Park Min-hee's final transmission. A good woman, begging for her people's lives ignored by aliens who considered humans to be insects. She thought about the message carved into New Seoul's ruins. Humans are beneath notice. How long would deployment take? She asked. 72 hours for full mobilization, General Ryu answered. Our ships are already in position. They just need activation codes. And after we destroy the Kitheran fleet, we establish humanity as the dominant military power in this region of the galaxy, Dr. Kang said. No species would dare attack human colonies again. President Seo returned to her seat. Around the table, Earth's leaders waited for her decision. Outside, normal people continued their normal lives, unaware that their future hung in the balance. The Kitherans killed 2.3 million of our people, she said quietly. They carved an insult into the ruins of their home. They treat human life as if it has no value. She stood up, her decision made. General Ryu, you have authorization to deploy every asset in Project Prometheus. Commander No, I want our intelligence networks to provide real-time information on all Kitheran movements. Dr. Kang, make sure our weapons are ready for immediate use. Madam President, Minister Nam protested, this could start a galactic war. No, President Seo replied, thinking of New Seoul's children who would never grow up. This will end one. For every soul we lost, for every human child who will never have to fear extinction, deploy everything. General Ryu saluted. It will be done, Madam President. As the meeting ended and Earth's leaders departed to oversee humanity's awakening, President Seo remained in the secure room. In 72 hours, the galaxy would learn that humans were not defenseless prey. They were predators who had been sleeping, and New Seoul had awakened them. The Kitherans thought humans were beneath notice. They were about to discover their mistake. Fleet Admiral Oh Seung-min had spent his entire adult life preparing for this moment. Standing on the bridge of the massive dreadnought UES Retribution, he watched as the impossible became reality around him. In the asteroid belt beyond Mars, ships began to appear. Not dozens or hundreds, but thousands upon thousands. Each asteroid mining facility revealed its true purpose as hidden hangar doors opened and warships emerged from concealment. Admiral, the Titan Wing reports ready, announced Captain Lim Daeho from the communications station. 40,000 ships armed and prepared for deployment. Jupiter Wing checking in, called tech specialist Hong Soo-young from her position at the Fleet Coordination Console. 60,000 vessels ready. All stealth systems disengaged. Admiral O nodded calmly, but inside he felt amazed. For 40 years, humanity had hidden its true strength. Asteroid mines that were actually shipyards. Research stations that were weapons development centers. Agricultural worlds that trained soldiers. All of it coordinated in absolute secrecy. Admiral, Captain Lim said quietly, I've served in the fleet for 20 years, and I never knew we had this many ships. Most people didn't, O replied. Even many military officers only knew about their own small part of the project. The Retribution itself was a perfect example. To outside observers, it looked like a large cargo vessel, used for transporting supplies between Earth and the colonies. In reality, it was the most advanced warship ever built, equipped with weapons that could crack planets and shields that could withstand the full fire of an enemy fleet. Saturn Wing is online, reported Lieutenant Kim Da-young from the tactical station. 75,000 ships ready for combat operations. Admiral O activated the main display screen. The image showed the entire Sol system, dotted with red icons representing human warships. The sight was breathtaking and terrifying at the same time. How many total? He asked. Hong Soo-young consulted her displays. Final count: 497,632 operational warships. 300,000 destroyers, 150,000 cruisers, 45,000 battleships, and 5,000 carriers. Fighter complement. Each carrier holds 200 fighter craft, reported Colonel Jang Hyesung from the Marine Command Station. Total fighter strength, 1 million small craft. Marine forces ready for deployment. 12 million soldiers in full combat gear. Captain Lim stared at the numbers on his screen. Admiral, we outnumber the Keitharan military by more than 40-1. Numbers aren't everything, Admiral O reminded him. But they certainly help. The gathering had taken exactly 72 hours, just as General Ryu had promised. Ships that had been hidden for decades now formed the largest military fleet in galactic history. The coordination required was staggering, but humanity had been planning this moment for 40 years. Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth Command, announced Communications Officer Lee Gina. The main screen changed to show President Seo Haeyeon. Behind her stood General Ryu and the rest of Earth's military leadership. Admiral O, the president said, you have full authorization to proceed with Operation Retribution. Your mission is simple. Make the Keitharans pay for what they did to New Sol and ensure they never threaten humanity again. Understood, Madam President, Admiral O replied. We will not disappoint you. Admiral, General Ryu added, remember that this isn't just about revenge. This is about sending a message to every species in the galaxy. Humanity will protect its own. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Retribution in relative quiet. Around them, nearly 500,000 warships waited for orders. Fleet status report, Admiral O commanded. All ships ready for jump, Hong Soo-young confirmed. Destination coordinates locked in. The Keitharan home system is 8 hours away at maximum speed. Intelligence update? Captain Lim consulted his displays. Long-range sensors confirm the Keitharan fleet is still concentrated in their home system. They appear to be celebrating their victory over New Sol. Admiral O felt anger burn in his chest. While humans mourned their dead, the aliens who had murdered them were having a party. Any indication they know we're coming? Negative, and reported Lieutenant Kim. Their spy networks are reporting normal human activity. They think we're still a peaceful species with minimal military capability. Colonel Jang stepped forward. Admiral, my Marines are ready for ground operations if needed. We have equipment to fight in any environment, including the Keitharan homeworld. I don't think ground operations will be necessary, Admiral O said grimly. This will be settled in space. Tech specialist Hong looked up from her station. Admiral, I'm receiving reports from our hidden bases throughout the galaxy. The Keitharans have begun claiming the New Sol system as their own. They're treating the destruction of our colony as a pest control operation. They actually carved humans are beneath notice into the ruins of our orbital station, added Captain Lim, reading from an intelligence report. The bridge fell silent for a moment. Every officer present had lost friends or family on New Sol. The insult carved into their home was like a knife in their hearts. Admiral, Hong said quietly, the Keitharans have posted the energy recordings of New Sol's destruction on their public networks. They're using it as entertainment. Admiral O closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of Dr. Park Min-hee's final transmission, a good woman begging for her people's lives, ignored by aliens who considered her species to be insects. All ships, he announced over the fleet communication network. This is Admiral O. In 8 hours we will arrive at the Keitharan home system. They think they destroyed New Sol without consequences. They think humans are weak and defenseless. They think we are beneath their notice. He paused, looking at the display showing nearly 500,000 human warships ready for battle. Let's show them how wrong they are. All ships prepare for jump. We're going to give the Kitharans a lesson in why you should never anger a species that has spent 40 years preparing for war. The fleet jumped as one, disappearing from the Sol system in a burst of displaced space. Behind them, Earth continued its normal daily routine, its people still unaware of the massive military force that protected them. 8 hours later, the Kitharans would learn that humans were not beneath notice. They were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and they had just been awakened. The Kitharan home system had been peaceful for over 1,000 years. Their massive fleet of 12,000 warships floated in perfect formation around their homeworld, a symbol of their dominance over dozens of conquered species. Today, that peace was about to end forever. Admiral Kim Sun-woo stood on the bridge of the command ship, watching as nearly 500,000 human vessels dropped out of jump space in perfect formation. The sight was magnificent and terrifying. Ships stretched in every direction, from small destroyers to massive dreadnoughts, all bearing the insignia of Earth's defense fleet. Kitharan vessels are scrambling to defensive positions, reported Captain Park Jinseo from the tactical station. They seem confused by our numbers. They've never seen a fleet this large, Admiral Kim replied calmly. No species has. The Kitharan homeworld sat in the center of their formation, a blue-green planet surrounded by orbital defense platforms and space stations. Their military had grown comfortable after centuries of easy victories against primitive species. They had never faced an enemy that could match their technology, let alone overwhelm them completely. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Kitharan command ship, announced Communications Officer Yang Miju. Put it through. The main screen showed a tall, reptilian alien wearing elaborate military decorations. His yellow eyes were wide with shock and what might have been fear. Unknown fleet, identify yourselves, the Kitharan commander demanded in his own language. You are trespassing in Imperial space. Admiral Kim had learned to speak Kitharan during his years of preparation for this moment. He responded in their language, his words clear and cold. I am Admiral Kim Sun-woo of the Earth Defense Fleet. You destroyed our colony at New Seoul. You murdered 2.3 million innocent people. You carved your contempt into the ruins of their home. Now you will learn why humanity has survived every extinction we have faced. The Kitharan commander's expression changed from anger to shock to growing terror as he realized the scope of the human fleet surrounding his homeworld. This is impossible, he whispered. Intelligence reports say humans have minimal military capability. Your intelligence was wrong, Admiral Kim replied. You thought we were weak because we chose to appear weak. You thought we were beneath notice because we let you believe that. Now you face the consequences of your mistake. The Kitharan commander tried to regain his composure. Even with superior numbers, you cannot match our technology. Our shields and weapons have conquered dozens of worlds, Captain Park, Admiral Kim said calmly. Demonstrate our technological superiority. Captain Park nodded to pilot An Minsu at the weapons station. Target the Kitharan command ship's shields. Quantum torpedo minimum yield. Firing, An reported. The torpedo seemed to pass through the Kitharan ship's energy shields as if they didn't exist. It struck the hull without causing serious damage, but the message was clear. Human weapons could penetrate their defenses at will. Impossible, the Kitharan commander gasped. Our shields are impenetrable. Your shields were designed to stop conventional energy weapons, Engineer Lee Chae-young explained from her station. Our quantum torpedoes phase through energy barriers. We've been developing them specifically to defeat your technology. Admiral Kim watched as panic spread through the Kitharan fleet. Their ships were powerful, but they were outnumbered 40-1 by vessels equipped with weapons they couldn't defend against. Admiral, Captain Park reported, the Kitharan Emperor is requesting communication. Put him through. The screen changed to show an even more elaborately decorated Kitharan, his scaled skin showing the pale coloration of extreme fear. Human Admiral, the Emperor said, his voice shaking. Surely we can negotiate. The destruction of your colony was a military necessity. Your species was expanding into territory we had claimed. New Seoul was an agricultural world, Admiral Kim replied coldly. They grew food and raised children. They had no military installations, no weapons, no defenses. You murdered them because you thought you could. We are prepared to offer compensation, the Emperor continued desperately. Resources, technology, territory. Name your price. Admiral Kim thought of Dr. Park Min-hee's final transmission, her desperate plea for her people's lives falling on deaf ears. He thought of the children who would never grow up, the families destroyed, the insult carved into their home. "There is no price for 2.3 million lives," he said quietly. "There is only justice." "All ships," Admiral Kim announced over the fleet network, "commence Operation Retribution. Target all military vessels and installations. Civilian areas are to be avoided unless they contain military assets." The battle that followed was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration of overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. Human quantum torpedoes phased through Kitharan shields, destroying their ships faster than they could respond. Pilotons fighter squadrons moved with inhuman coordination, guided by AI systems that predicted enemy movements before they made them. Engineer Lee's weapon systems targeted not just ships, but infrastructure. Orbital defense platforms, military shipyards, weapons manufacturing facilities. Everything the Kitharans had built to support their empire of conquest was systematically destroyed. "Kitharan orbital defenses are down," Captain Park reported. "Their fleet is reduced to 30% strength and falling." "Admiral," Communications Officer Yang announced, "we're receiving surrender requests from individual Kitharan ships." "Ignore them," Admiral Kim ordered. "This isn't about accepting surrender. This is about making sure they never threaten anyone again." In 6 hours, the Kitharan military ceased to exist as an effective force. Their proud fleet of 12,000 ships was reduced to burning wreckage. Their orbital installations had been systematically destroyed. Their homeworld lay defenseless, its skies filled with human warships. The Kitharan Emperor transmitted one final message, his voice barely above a whisper. "We surrender. Unconditionally. Please, spare our people." Admiral Kim looked at the devastation on his screens. The Kitharan military that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries was broken. Their weapons were gone, their ships destroyed, their power shattered. "Your surrender is noted," he replied, "but not required. You will be relocated to a single world under human supervision. Your technology will be confiscated. Your expansion is permanently ended. Your empire is dissolved. This is not negotiation. This is justice." "You're destroying a civilization that has existed for millennia," the Emperor protested weakly. "You destroyed a colony full of innocent people," Admiral Kim countered. "You thought we were beneath notice. Now you know the truth. Humanity protects its own, and we never forget." As human ships began the systematic dismantling of Kitharan space infrastructure, Admiral Kim opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim. The Kitharan threat has been neutralized. Their military is destroyed. Their empire ended. But remember why we're here. We're not conquerors. We're protectors. We came here to ensure that what happened to New Sol never happens again." Around the galaxy, other species monitored the battle through their own intelligence networks. Word spread quickly. The humans had not just defeated the Kitharans, they had completely destroyed them as a galactic power in less than a day. The message was clear. Humanity appeared peaceful, but they were never helpless. Attack human colonies and face the full might of Earth's military. The galaxy had a new dominant power, and it was not interested in conquest. It was interested in protection. The Kitharans had learned too late that humans were not beneath notice. They were the apex predators of the galaxy, and they had just proven it to everyone. President Seo Hayan stood before the cameras in the main communication center of the United Earth government. Behind her, displays showed the reconstruction efforts at New Sol and the positions of human fleets throughout the galaxy. In 72 hours, everything had changed. "People of Earth and citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice calm but carrying the weight of history. 6 days ago, the Kitharan Empire destroyed our colony at New Sol. They murdered 2.3 million innocent people. They believed humans were weak, defenseless beneath their notice. Around the galaxy, billions of beings watched the transmission, species that had feared the Kitharans for centuries, young civilizations hoping to avoid their attention, and the remnants of the Kitharan Empire itself, now confined to a single world under human supervision. They were wrong. President Seo continued. "For 40 years, humanity has been preparing for this day. While we appeared to be peaceful farmers and miners, we were building the largest military force in galactic history. We let aggressive species think we were prey while we became the ultimate predators. Ambassador Go Yunji sat in the Galactic Council chambers, watching as representatives from dozens of species listened to the president's speech. Some looked relieved, others worried. All of them understood that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted permanently. The Kithran Empire, which had conquered worlds for thousands of years, was destroyed in 6 hours, the president announced. Their military no longer exists. Their expansion has ended forever. This is what happens when you attack humanity. Captain Lee Do-yoon stood on the bridge of the Vigilance, now part of a massive construction fleet rebuilding New Seoul. Around him, hundreds of ships worked to restore the colony. The new stations would be larger, stronger, and heavily defended. What happened here would never happen again. But humanity is not interested in conquest, President Seo said, her tone becoming warmer. We offer protection to peaceful species. We will defend those who cannot defend themselves. We ask only that you respect human sovereignty and the sovereignty of our allies. In the ruins of the Kithran homeworld's capital, former Emperor Vorthak worked in a simple labor camp, processing recycled materials under human supervision. His empire was gone, his fleet destroyed, his people scattered to refugee camps on distant worlds. The mighty Kitharans had become exactly what they had considered humans to be, a species beneath notice. Some of you may wonder why we hid our strength for so long, the president continued. The answer is simple. We hoped we would never need to use it. We wanted to live in peace, to explore the galaxy, to learn from other species, but we also remembered our history. Historian Yu Minjae worked in the archives beneath the New Seoul Memorial, documenting every detail of the colony's destruction and the war that followed. Future generations would know what happened here. They would understand the price of attacking humanity and the lengths to which humans would go to protect their own. Humanity has faced extinction before, President Seo explained. On our homeworld, we survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that should have ended our species. We learned that the universe is not kind to the weak. We learned that sometimes peace can only be maintained through strength. Admiral Kim Sun-woo reviewed reports from across human space. The hidden fleets were no longer hidden. Defense platforms that had been disguised as research stations now showed their true purpose. The galaxy could see humanity's military might, and the message was clear. We are not victims. Today I announce the formation of the Galactic Protection Alliance, the president said. Any species that wishes to live in peace is welcome to join. We will defend you against aggression. We will help you develop your worlds. We ask only that you contribute to our mutual defense and respect the rights of all sentient beings. Ambassador Go presented the Alliance Charter to the Galactic Council. Within hours, over 30 species had requested membership. The small, peaceful civilizations that had lived in fear of the Ketherans and other aggressive empires now had a protector. To those who would consider attacking human colonies or our allies, President Seo said, her voice becoming steel, remember New Seoul. Remember the Kithran Empire. Remember that humanity has 500,000 warships, and we are not afraid to use them. Captain Lee walked through the New Seoul station, watching as children played in areas that had been nothing but empty space a week ago. Their laughter echoed through corridors that bore memorial plaques for those who had died. The dead would not be forgotten, but life would continue. We do not seek to rule the galaxy, the president concluded. We seek to protect it. We do not want to be conquerors. We want to be guardians, but we will not hesitate to destroy any threat to innocent life, regardless of how powerful that threat believes itself to be. As the transmission ended, the galaxy settled into its new reality. Humanity had revealed itself as the dominant military power, but also as protectors rather than conquerors. The fear that had ruled galactic politics for millennia was beginning to fade, replaced by hope for a more peaceful future. In the New Seoul Memorial, a simple plaque bore the words that had been carved into the original colony's ruins. Humans are beneath notice. Below it, in letters of polished steel, was humanity's response. They noticed. We answered. Former Kithran military officers, now working as manual laborers under human supervision, would sometimes look up at the sky and remember when they had ruled dozens of worlds. They had thought humans were insignificant insects. Now they understood the truth. Humans were apex predators who had been sleeping, and the Kitharans had made the fatal mistake of waking them up. Across the galaxy, aggressive species reconsidered their expansion plans. Pirates thought twice before attacking ships flying human flags. Slave traders avoided systems under human protection. The message had been received and understood. Attack humanity or its allies, and face total destruction. Ambassador Go concluded her presentation to the Galactic Council with a simple statement. Humanity offers friendship to the peaceful and destruction to the aggressive. The choice is yours. As reports came in from across the galaxy, it became clear that most species were choosing friendship. The Galactic Protection Alliance grew daily, as civilizations that had lived in fear for centuries finally found safety under humanity's protection. President Seo stood at her office window, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, human fleets patrolled the trade routes, keeping them safe for peaceful commerce. Human colonies thrived under the protection of the most powerful military force in galactic history. And on a rebuilt world called New Sol, children played in parks dedicated to those who had died so that future generations could live in peace. The Kitharans had been wrong about humanity. Humans were not beneath notice. They were the guardians of the galaxy, and they would never again allow the innocent to be slaughtered by those who thought might made right. The message was simple and clear. Humanity protects its own, and its own now included anyone who chose peace over war, cooperation over conquest, life over death. The galaxy had learned that humans were not prey. They were predators with hearts of gold and fists of steel, and they were watching. Thanks for you.